Test, 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 test. Test, 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 test. Oh man. I can't tell if y'all are hearing them cutting grass in the background. Anyway, big push on the Nasdaq this morning. Just tapped right under 13,900. What is the all-time high for Nasdaq anyway? Is that it? I feel like that might be it. Oh wow, it double topped there on the daily chart. That's interesting. So if it breaks this, we'll be playing with all-time highs today. That's always fun. Love-hate relationship with all-time highs, honestly. Trading all-time highs, you have to treat it like it's almost like a cat playing with like a new toy, right? Like the market's gonna want to push up, see what's the market gonna do at this new number, and it's gonna hesitate and like run away. Then it'll get close to it again. It'll try and get to like, I don't know, 13,900, freak out, run away, and it'll keep doing that and doing that and doing that until finally it breaks one way or the other. But it's always hard to like predict and guess. Anyway, we're above the 200 EMA. Looking like we're trying to go for all-time highs today, so definitely only taking longs, not trying to short anything, not trying to go against the market at all. Market just opened up. I personally would like to see a nice sell-off at open. Maybe down to VWAP if we can get there, and down to volume. And if it starts to bounce from there, we can buy. Just gonna be patient, chill out here, see what we get. Not gonna participate. I usually try not to participate right at the open. I give it at least 5 minutes. Not that I'm sticking to any specific time frame. If I see a good, setup right away, then I'll take it. But generally, right at the open, I like to just chill and watch. This volume node here is a little concerning. If it ends up getting underneath that, alright, so you do get this drop here, and it pushes down to volume here, and VWAP. I think it'll have a hard time getting past this node. Just looking at the overnight session here. Saw it came down, it dropped, had a sell-off, met resistance, hit it. This is a previous resistance line here, right? Like this area here would be a resistance line or resistance level or resistance area, whatever you want to call it. But it met that, bounced off of it, hit it again, came back up, and then it shot up. So there's actually a lot of resistance. I think if it drops here, probably it'll have a hard time wanting to drop through volume. And then even if it gets through volume, it'll have a hard time wanting to break this resistance here. So I would like to buy down here if we can get down there. At the same time, I think what we'd have to be wary of is if we do get down here, I can see the market getting very choppy because I don't see it wanting to easily get through this node up here either. Especially when to get above there, that's basically an all-time high for the NASDAQ. You find more often than not these all-time highs happen in the after hours. It doesn't usually happen during the the New York session for whatever reason. But we'll see today. I mean, we have the whole day today for it to try. It's practically there already. And there goes the break. I know some breakout traders are looking at that or just got in. There goes. They probably all have their stops here at the swing low. I don't know if they would have taken their break above here or put in a buy stop order above here. I can't. I hate taking breakout trades. When they work so well, but man, you're gonna get stopped out so many times on breakout trades before you hit like that one big one. But hell, I mean, I guess if there's any day or any time to like take one, it'd be this on an all-time high. As always, I will just wait for the pullback. I hardly ever look at ES. Initially, when I started trading futures, I started with ES actually. S is pushing a lot too. And there goes the Nasdaq rocketing off. Big push here. Wish I was in it, but that is not how I trade, unfortunately. That always hurts to see that when you know something potentially could work and it just doesn't fit your strategy and you don't trade it and then it works. Oh well. Props to anybody who got in on this and is still holding it. It's what, 60-ish points? Yeah, 59, 60 point move. Not a bad way to start the day. This is how you get in trouble. This 4 point scalp. It's tempting to just put a 4 point scalp, buy, and if it, you know, comes below one of these, I'll just get stopped out. If it keeps going, then it moves my stop to 4 points up on an auto break even. But I'm telling you, every time I do this, the second I buy it, it's because I'm FOMOing in, and it starts going the other way. So just not going to. Delta looks solid. Delta finally showing some weakness though. We'll see if sellers can get in here and make this thing finally come down somewhat for us to get in. I don't think we're gonna get our a sell-off down to VWAP and maybe VWAP still, but not down to volume down here anymore. Initially, I would have liked to see us get down here for me to buy, but I doubt this is gonna happen anytime soon. Maybe. Let's go. Sell off. All right. Looks like we're starting to get a bit of a sell-off. Be patient here. Try to let it exhaust itself. Hopefully, it doesn't just start pushing up immediately again. Those plays where it goes just sideways and then goes right back up, kind of like this. You know, you had a good push up and it just went sideways and never really, kind of sort of, but not really. Sometimes it's hard to buy this because it doesn't really feel like it's an actual pullback, even though, for the day that might be all you get, right? You gotta take what you can get sometimes, take what the market gives. But I would like to see it come down to this node, or at least the first deviation off VWAP, or near it. Let's look at our time charts. The 1 hour looks good, MACD is good, 30 is the same, 15 is the same. The 5 minute is still bullish overall. The engulfing is still, I think, takes priority over this. This could be like is it a wick test? I forget what they call it. Anyway, it's like a bar retracement play or wick test. Kind of same concepts in both of those, but that could play out on the 5 minute still. There's the 1 minute. The 1 minute's almost is trying to give a sell signal, but that's fine. That's the 1 minute. Let's go back here. Got to keep in mind the size of our standard deviations. This is from 42 down to, is it 95? 94, 95? So roughly 47 to 50 points on our standard deviations. Just something to keep in mind so we know where we're setting our take profits and stops.
Order filled.
Adding one might be a bit early, but that's all right. Our second contract scale. So we'll look to add another. If it continues down and gets, down here to volume and starts bouncing, we'll look to add another. If it pushes up, then we'll just chill. We'll leave it alone and just sit here and wait. Hopefully we can get another aggressive push up, delete the take profit, and just move my stop up somewhere profitable. And then just sit on the contract. Just lining that up so I know where exactly I want to buy at. I don't want to cheat myself here and sell early. I would rather give this space, even if it means, I do end up taking, or I am at a higher risk of taking a loss. I want to give this one space just because the way it's shaping out so far, like you can see this is an aggressive push up off of a lot of, previous support. Like there was a lot of choppiness through the past couple of days. And so now it's looking like the market really wants to push up. It may be done and we don't know, and this could be the top and it starts coming down, but hopefully not. And if that is the case, then hopefully we can just scale in and then go for like a smaller overall profit later. Because again, we should have quite a bit of support behind us all throughout actually. The delta had a nice slope upwards to it too. But you never know. All things could point to long, and then the market can do can do the opposite. I've seen it before. Probably will see it again. Hopefully not today. I almost want to go back to just trading the three contracts straight up and just not scale. Just yellow everything on just one trade. As much as it's pushing so far, if there was any, one day, you only want to do that on trend days when the market is trending really hard and you're trading with the trend. Just wait for whatever pullback or whatever thing to reach support, let it bounce, and then, you know, take your I guess as they call it that sniper entry, right? Take that big shot and just put your stop as far away as you can stomach and let it go. Pros and cons to that. Pros and cons to that. Certainly, if had taken this at three contracts, I would have been out by now. Almost want to add a second just off of this little dip and push here. See how this is tiny. It was just a tiny movement, but it is a higher low. This is showing a like a build-up formation when you're trending upwards and it comes and it makes like a nice little dip, starts pushing up. You know, you can call this a double top, even though this is technically a higher high, just barely though. And then it comes, it forms a slightly higher low, and then starts pushing again. That's build up and is usually something you're looking for when you're trying to take breakout trades. I know I normally don't trade breakout style, so I'm not going to add here, but I know there are people who, after seeing this move, they're now seeing this building up and looking to long this if it breaks out again. So hopefully we can get the push above and it'll break out and people will start jumping in and we'll get a nice run up. If not, then the plan is to just hold, wait, see how it reacts around this node and this box area here. If we get a bounce and it starts pushing up, then we can buy there. And truth be told, I'd rather buy on a pullback to here than add here. This is a bit too aggressive for me. Nothing wrong with it, just aggressive for me. I'm trying to watch a delta here to see if we do get like a Some major buyers coming in. Looks like some are coming in. Won't lie, it is very tempting to add here, but I have added near the high of day and all-time highs plenty of times before and gotten punished for it. I've gotten punished for it more often than it's helped me. So I will try my best to refrain as much as I want to. There it goes. There's your break. So now we'll see if people want to FOMO into this and start, marketing long, or if this turns into a fake out and starts coming back. If this can start pushing up a bit from here, I'll finally move my stop up somewhere profitable. Somewhere that I don't think price has any reason to come back to, at least not easily. And this is why I say today is one of those days where, like, as much as I'm not going to do it today, it's totally justifiable to load up 3 contracts and just run it, right? Because I'm good with a $1,500 loss in any one day, and 3 contracts doing that is 25 points. You can look at like a 25 points. If I had bought there, you can see where 25 points would have been. Like the market never dropped anywhere near 25 points, and by now this trade, instead of being up $400, would have been up 1,200, right? So I would have locked in at 1,000. Locked in at 1,000, maybe sold, 1 or 2 contracts and just been sitting on like the last one. But trading that way in the past is how I messed up my accounts because you lose 1,500 2 or 3 days in a row and you're hurting. So now I can just sit here and calmly like, analyze and assess and scale in on the one contract and just add them over time. And it's much easier, but it's boring. It's boring at the same time too, though. I'm not gonna lie. Okay. We'll just put it right under this bar. If it wants to come underneath that, then we'll get stopped out, and which is okay.
Stop filled.
So we are stopped out there, up $300. It just looks to me like it's losing a bit of steam. Not really any real reason to real need to get out. I think maybe it's gonna pull back here and continue back up. But I figured I would just lock in on the one contract. If it does want to drop at all, then I will. then I'll let it, you know. I'm really debating the three contracts and just going for the 25, 25 versus 25. Again, still showing this build up formation, not looking like it wants to break. All right, I'm gonna try and be aggressive here. What are the odds that this breaks this high and this ends up being a fake out and shoots down right after? Very hard to say.
Order filled.
We're in on the slight break. Hopefully this doesn't shoot down immediately and take me out. If it does, then I will be out 1,200 bucks on the day. And that will be a lesson in why you just don't do why I just don't do the breakouts. Essentially, I'm taking this one because where the breakout point was is still above the trend line. So I'm just hoping that the trend line will hold. Move the stop a bit closer. Again, just because basically I'm using the trend line as my stop. So if it's breaking the trend line, then I'm just gonna get out. At the very least, I'm happy that it's not just an instant rocket down. At least it's trying to like hold and get up there. 12. Yeah. And there goes the break. We'll see if we get stopped out now. If I don't get stopped out now, it's just luck. Yeah, if you want to miss my stop by a tick, that is fine by me.
Stop filled.
All right, we're out. So now we are down 870 on the day. Basically giving back the past 2 days profits. So then the alternative, if I hadn't done that trade, I could have been looking to add one here. Or if I was still holding my first contract, I could be, adding one to that trade rather than just being out for 3 on this move. Just decided to be aggressive since we're playing with all-time highs, and sometimes it likes to, launch. But oh well. I'm going to try to be patient. We'll try the 3 contracts again. I'm going to try and be patient and see if I can't get a nice. So this hasn't formed a lower low yet. It's technically slightly higher. It is pretty close though to being even, being a double bottom. So we'll treat this as like a resistance here. Same as how that happened there, right? And if it starts pushing back up and gets above this, then we'll long.
Stop filled.
And we're in again. If this one starts coming against us, then we're just done for the day. I'll give this some space to breathe, but not a whole lot, just because I don't want to burn the account in a day. So my 870 realized. I'd rather not lose more than like 700 on this one. Nice little push here. Meeting resistance and coming back down. We'll see what it wants to do. Very tempting to put this at the swing low. How far away is the swing low? That's 14.25. That's more than I'm comfortable losing today. We'll put it under the first deviation. It's a little bit more than the total 1500 that I'm cool with losing. Basically, I'd be losing like 17 total. Where's 1400 at? I doubt it runs all the way up here. I doubt that. Starting to get choppy. Starting to get very choppy. That is not good of a not a good sign for me. Probably is not going to push up if it keeps doing that unless it keeps making like these forming like this nice little wedge here and it's just building up to push up, but if that's not the case then I'm about to get stopped out again. And again, it doesn't really look like it wants to come, it's not coming down easily. And if I was in with just one contract, I'd be able to scale in, or I'd be comfortable that I could scale in, as far as I needed to and end up profitable later. But the greed, a little bit of greed at play here, especially on a day like today where we know the market's capable of pushing very quickly. So unlike other days, I'm willing to take more risk today. I just may be unlucky in my crude oil, German, what? What is ZEW? Man, these headlines are such nonsense. Wall Street set to open lower. Okay. I almost try not to look at news. When I first was getting into trading and especially like investing, I was always looking at news, always looking at like, what stock or what company is being talked about. And now I don't look at, not that I don't look at any of it, but I try not to let it influence my trading decisions too much. Certainly when I'm trading Nasdaq, I'm not looking at, really any specific news outside of, FOMC statements or the what's the other thing? GDP and the jobs report when they release that stuff. You know, I'll pay attention to that. But other than that, I'm not really looking at news too much. Just whatever the chart says is whatever it is. Getting a lot of meandering here. Finally broke that little range there. We'll see if we can't get the launch off or not. That's what I was talking about. It's very choppy. Very, very choppy. Only reason I'm still in is because, again, it's maintaining that wedge shape overall. That, we can draw it here, right? Take a line. It's just slightly sloping up, making a little wedge, indication of build up, and that it's eventually going to break out and push to the upside. We'll see if it does or if it doesn't. But that's what we're banking on. This line's useless, doesn't mean anything. Testing the trend line, testing the deviation, one deviation above VWAP, and also volume. This is the volume node peak here. And this is the problem trading with 3 contracts. As much as I do think like being long overall is the move, you just not enough space. Doesn't allow enough space to hold. And again, if I don't get stopped out here, at this point, it's just luck.
Stop filled.
That's that. That is my day today. I think I'm out 1600 something. Yeah, 1635. A little bit more than the 1500, but that's okay. Remove all. Remove. So I don't know if this is actually going to push down or if this is just running stops, right? Because anyone who is trading any sort of breakout style or doing anything, basically what I was doing was trading breakouts, right? Which is why I don't like to. And this is an example of why I don't like to. Um, this could just be a market maker running stops, right? Like this whole thing here is going to be, let's draw it, shape box. Pretty much this whole area is liquidity for them. So they could be just running stops. This might flush down to here, run all these stops, and then rocket back up and make a new high on the day. Don't necessarily know if that would happen. It could. I almost just want to watch just for the sake of curiosity. Okay. Looks like it's actually selling off. If it's actually selling off and actually drops, that's fine. Then that just means, I was wrong on direction and that I would have been better off scaling how I was in the beginning because I'd still be in here and would be able to get out profitably, adding a contract somewhere here and then taking one off at break even and just riding the last one up to wherever it would go to if it did. So I'm okay with it just being wrong, right? However, if this is stops getting ran and then this runs up, then that means I was outplayed by someone, and that's always annoying. Well, that's it. It's kind of boring just to watch me not trade and just look at the markets. Y'all can do that on your own. Anyway, a good example of what not to do. Don't, well, do it if you want to, trade breakouts if you want to, but example of what can happen when you trade breakouts, right? Um, if you're trading breakouts, if you're trade maybe if you're trading with one contract, it's okay because you just cut off the trade quickly on the one contract and you're all right. Trading breakouts with large size is a recipe for disaster because there's just not enough to put your stop underneath the swing low is just too far away most of the time. You're literally going from a high to a local low to hold that, and it most of the time it's going to be a fairly big loss. And for me, losing 1500, I could have lost 1500 in a single trade if I hadn't moved the stop to cut it off early, and same here, right? So that's probably the lesson for today, and that's it.